Hey guys, it is 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, and this is episode one of my Hot Mess Mom Vlog. So, yeah, today is August 14th, 2017. Um, it is another day of another round of Shift Shop Beachbody On Demand Challenge, and I decided as of today I am going to go live on Facebook Live every single day at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. If it's not going to happen, I will announce it ahead of time. I would also love to have examples of episodes that I can do, things that you want me to cover, things like that. But for episode one, I really wanted to tell you guys who I was, a little more about my story, because some of you guys are new followers. There's over 15,000 of you, so some of you guys don't know me, some do, but I really wanted to share more of my story, who I am, to get to know me, see how we connect, because I got tons of things going on, and I've been through a lot, so I'm sure there's something that I've been through that you guys can relate to. So I'm hoping to share a little bit of my story. I'm going to kind of go far back, but I wanted to share my story, and I wanted to kind of give you a feel for what this hot mess mom blog thing is going to be like. Again, this is just basically a storytelling one, but I will obviously be sharing more other things as I go forward. So really, who am I? I'm Erin Wester. I am a 37-year-old mom of three. I have a 10-year-old son, Jacob, who actually is going to be 11 in November. He's going into 5th grade, and he is a type 1 diabetic. So he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 4 years old. I also have a almost 22-month-old baby girl, Alexandra. She did have a twin sister, Victoria, but Victoria actually passed away when she was 12 days old. So that's a big part of my story. I had twins in 2015. When one of them, Victoria, was 6 days old, she had a heart attack. They tried to revive her, but it didn't happen fast enough. Her brainstem basically died in the time that it took to revive her. So, really emphasize the importance of all parents knowing CPR on their babies. Super important. But, she had a heart attack, and when she was 12 days old, we had to make that decision to turn off the machines. And we did decide to turn the machines off because we didn't want to just have her in our house as a vegetable on a machine. She was never going to wake up. She was never going to come out of a coma. She was never going to be able to breathe on her own. So that's why we had to make that really tough decision. So I'm a mom of three, 2 on earth, 1 on heaven. Obviously we miss her every day. It's a huge part of my story. When I was pregnant, I actually was not approved for my maternity leave because I needed an extended maternity leave. So I really didn't have a job to go back to. And that is where this whole health and fitness coaching thing comes into play. So I've been a health and fitness coach since 2010. I've been on a weight loss journey since about 2008 when I had my son. So he was born in 2006. It took me till about 2008 to realize how overweight I was, how unhealthy I was, and that I need to make a change. I looked in the mirror. I didn't recognize who I was looking at, and that's when I decided to make a change. At that time, I did Weight Watchers. I took Zumba exercise classes. After a year of doing that, I ordered P90X off of an infomercial. I ordered P90X off an infomercial and did P90X. All this was while it was going on. Going back, I started suffering from emotional eating and depression when I was 13 years old. I competed nationally with horses, Arabian horses, and that was very, very stressful for me. It caused me a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic attacks, things like that. So, you have to be a certain image to show horses. So, it was really having to keep up that image of being perfect, of doing everything right. My parents are spending lots of money, so obviously they wanted me to do well showing the horses, and grades were a huge thing, so it was a lot of pressure growing up. Not saying it was bad pressure, but it was rough growing up that way. I went to college in River Falls, about 5 hours away. I wanted to be a horse trainer. I wanted to have my own place and train horses. But college just didn't go well for me. I had no clue what I wanted to do. I knew nothing about life. I knew nothing about who I really was. And I knew I was really, really shy growing up. I was really quiet. A lot of people thought I was stuck up. So when I went to college, I figured out there's something called alcohol that you can drink and not be shy. And, that is kind of where alcoholism started. I used alcohol to be able to talk to people. I felt like I was more fun when I was drinking. I was smoking cigarettes, smoking marijuana. I just felt like when I was doing everything all my friends were doing, I was more fun and I was going to have more friends. And, I dated a guy and my heart broken, and, did all the things that 20-something girls do, be promiscuous, drink, use their bodies to get free drinks. That was kind of how college was for me. And then eventually I just stopped going to classes. I failed a bunch of classes I needed to get my degree. It was just a really, really rough time for me. I had no clue who I was. I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. I had no clue how to manage money. I was just clueless. So I ended up getting kicked out of college because I didn't go to classes. I flunked out, and I moved to Minneapolis. Got a job at the airport, met my son's dad. I tried training horses in Arizona. I tried working at the airport. I tried working in a bank. I was working at the Mall of America, at Victoria's Secret. Nothing worked for me because I didn't have a college degree. I had tons of debt from all the credit cards that they let you college students open. So I had tons of credit card debts. I drew a bank account so badly in my early 20s that, they kicked me out of the bank and I had to somehow find a new bank. So, things were bad. Things were rough. And then I got involved with my son's dad, and it was more than just marijuana. It was cocaine. I had even considered trying heroin at one time. I never did, but I was drinking again. I was smoking marijuana. I was doing cocaine. It was just horrible. And the relationship turned into an abusive relationship. Physical abuse, mental abuse, separating me from my friends and family. It was just horrible. And then obviously the worst thing happens and I got pregnant. One drunken night, and that's as fast as it can happen. We were going to try to work on it. He was going to get help. It was going to be better. But, if anybody knows anything about domestic violence, you all know that it's not going to get better. There's no way that anything like that is going to get better. So, the first time he hit me when I was pregnant, I was done. I was out and I left. I moved down back in with my parents in Lake Geneva. They didn't know how bad it was. They didn't know what was really going on. I came down here. I had to find a job. I went back to school. So, I didn't even hear from my son's dad until I had to name who the father was at the hospital, and they filed for child support. So then I had to deal with visits and him going off with his dad, with an abusive person who does lots of drugs and drinks, and I had to just deal with that. So then again, more anxiety, more panic attacks. Life was just horrible. I was getting my life back on track. Yeah, I was still living with my parents, but I was going to school. I was working. At the time, I was working at Starbucks. I wanted to be a social worker because I had to go on state assistance when I had my son. So I was on state assistance. I was on state insurance. So I know how it feels to go from doing fantastically to the bottom. I know how it feels. Also trying to get over the abuse. I went to support groups. I went to therapy. But, I still had to see him in court. I still had to see him when he would come for visits. I still had to deal with him. He wasn't paying child support. He wasn't providing health insurance for our son. It was just, he was horrible. He was mean. He was abusive to me over the phone. It was just awful. But I was getting my life back together. I was taking care of me. I was doing what I thought I was supposed to do. When my son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, that was probably honestly the best thing that could have ever happened, because that got his father out of his life. Who knows what could have happened to my son as he got older? No, who knows? Who knows? Who even knows what his dad is doing? I haven't seen his dad in 6.5 years. He refused to take the diabetes classes. So, we got those visits stopped. And, I haven't honestly heard from him since. And it's a blessing in disguise. And then I met my husband. Well, at the time he wasn't my husband, but I met my husband, and it was the first time I didn't push somebody away. Because in all my relationships, I pushed people away because I didn't trust anybody. I was hurt. I was broken. Even with therapy, I still had major trust issues and pushed people away. Luckily, my husband stuck with me. And obviously, it's a happy ending. We have now been together for almost 6.5 years, and we have been married it'll be 3 years in March, so about 2.5 years. Oh my gosh, 3.5 years. I'm horrible. We were married in 2014. It's been 3.5 years. I'm horrible. But he's a great father to my son. He's a great father to Alexandra. Obviously, yes, we've been through struggles, but you know what? Overall, our life is pretty damn awesome. I'm going to say it. It's awesome, even with the stress. Social work is a stressful career. As I was saying before, I was basically let go from my job. I didn't have a job to go back to, but luckily I had been building my online business to a point where it had almost doubled what I was making at my job as a social worker. I was making almost double as a online health and fitness coach. So, it was perfect timing. I don't know if I ever would have actually quit. So it was a blessing in disguise. And again, of course, losing our daughter, it was great not to have to go back to work, not to deal with bereavement leave, not to deal with maternity leave and having to go back to work. So thanks to my online health and fitness business, I was able to stay home with my daughter for 18 months, which is amazing. My business has made it so we paid for our wedding in cash. We paid for part of our own wedding. We paid for that in cash. We paid for our honeymoon in cash. We put a big down payment down when we purchased our house 3 years ago. When all of that happened with my daughter, people really helped us out financially. That paid for our medical bills, but the funeral we paid for with Beachbody money. Again, it made it so I could stay home for 18 months with my daughter, which is the most amazing feeling in the world. So yeah, now I am back at work, but the real reason I'm back at work is because I have $88,000 in student loans for my master's degree. So that's really why I went back to work, is to pay off that $88,000. And also, if you work in nonprofit for 10 years, you can get your student loans forgiven. So that's kind of the plan, is to stay in my current position for 10 years and have the rest of my loans forgiven and then officially retire. If we can get the student loans paid off faster because my business is growing, that would be even more amazing. But I'm doing something I really love. I'm a supervisor. It's a good feeling. I have flexibility. I love what I do. But I also get to spend time with my kids. I get enough time off to spend time with them. And it's just an amazing feeling. Working on paying off our debt. We had to go on vacations that we pay for in cash. It's just the most amazing feeling in the world. And, yeah, I've been through a lot of crap. Yeah, I still have to obviously deal with depression. I still have issues with anxiety. I still have emotional eating issues. I'm still on my weight loss journey. For me, it takes a while. My first 75-pound weight loss took about 3 years. So at this point, I've lost about 30 pounds of my second 75-pound weight loss. But when you have twins, obviously you're going to gain 75 pounds. But I gained about 55 pounds. I was about 20 pounds overweight when I got pregnant. But, working on the second 75-pound weight loss and just sharing my journey with other women. I'm sure plenty of other women on here have been through something that I've been through, be it addiction, emotional eating, low self-esteem, loss of a child, having a child with diabetes. It took them actually a year to find out what caused Victoria to have her heart attack. It is a very rare heart condition that you can't even Google it because it's that rare. But it's something that causes people to have an immediate heart attack. I mean, it can happen anytime, and they're just going to be gone. But it took them a year to find this. So, I mean, I'm sure lots of moms can relate. the feeling of being in debt, of not being able to contribute to your household, of holding everybody back, those feelings of not trusting men because you've been through domestic violence, um, debt. I'm sure kicked out of college. I mean, I'm sure a lot single moms. I mean, tons of people have been through the things that I've been through, and I'm just here to connect with you guys and really give you guys tips, give you tricks, really give you inspiration and motivation to be on your own fitness journey and have success in whatever area you want to have success in, be it your career, a home business you want to start, an idea you have for a business, your weight loss, anything like that, just having more self-confidence, feeling better about yourself. That's what I'm here to help you guys with. And keep eyes out for when I post events about things that I have going on. I have a free group going on right now. It's a 7-day keto paleo group where we're just swapping recipes, supporting each other, giving education, information. I'm just all about giving you guys value. So whatever kinds of things you guys want to hear, just let me know. I will absolutely cover it. Tomorrow night, I'm going to actually talk about time management, how I juggle a job, a husband, kids, and a home business, as long as my own health and fitness journey. I'm cooking healthy food for my family. So I'm going to kind of share how I juggle all that with you guys. So I hope everybody really enjoyed my first episode. You like it? Comment below, send me a message, let me know what you liked, let me know what you hated, let me know what kind of things you want me to cover. Again, every night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. My kids are in bed. It's just the best time for me. It's my time for my business, so it's just the best time. Just come down to my office and get it done. And I actually clean my desk tonight too, so that is a great thing to have gotten done. So I hope everybody has a fantastic night, and I'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye.